Hey, what's up, guys? Mike Patrick. In this video, I want to talk about the warrior gene, okay, and how it relates to what we call mental health today. All right, guys. Now, this is just a perspective. This is just a perception, and knowledge is power. And sometimes we have to look at things differently so we can properly assess things. Okay, guys. And so you have to have different perspectives and different ways of looking at things so we can understand why you may be experiencing certain things, okay? Um, with the warrior gene, guys, you have to think. And I want to speak to this video from a so-called African American black perspective, okay? And this is going to help that so-called African American and black community out a whole lot, okay? Because it's going to give you different information, alternative information to why things are the way they are, okay? Now, guys, for one, I want to start by saying this. You guys are some of the greatest warriors, literally the greatest warriors on the planet, okay, guys? Your ancestry, your DNA, your genes, you're the greatest warriors on the planet, all right? And a lot of times you guys don't look at it that way. Y'all don't understand that because of a lot of the propaganda and things that we've been fed and programmed, okay? So that's part of what I do, right? Reprogramming us, breaking generational curses, alternative information for you to look into so you can have a better perspective and a broader perspective and perception of who you are and life in general, okay? And what your role is, all right? Now, for one, guys, a lot of the earliest Europeans were so-called black people, okay, guys? Like we were look up the Moors. If you haven't looked up the Moors, look up the Moors, okay? And I'm kind of reluctant to tell people to look things up on the internet now, because as people started waking up years ago, and as more and more people wake up and start looking up different information and things like that, a tactic has been to re-propagandize or redistribute information. And so now they're really big on trying to debunk a lot of the stuff that that some of our emerging leaders and intellectuals are giving us, because they want to slow down the process of people waking up, okay, and to try to stifle and stagnate this rolling progression and transition and awakening, okay, guys. But know that the earliest Europeans were so-called African Americans and featured like melanated people, okay, and they were some of the earliest Vikings, okay. When you see movies like 300 and that story, those were like Israelites. Those were so-called black people. A lot of the earliest ones. I'm not saying all of the warriors were necessarily black, okay. I'm not and the same thing with the Moors and things like that. But a lot of these people, a lot of these warriors were actually black people. So a lot of you guys have this in your genetics. Not just, see, we like to think of it as just from what they tell us. You like to think of just being in Africa. And yeah, you know about the tribes and the warriors over there and things like that. And the same thing with Native Americans. You know about the tribes and the warriors and things like that. But they don't, they always try to depict like 300 and the Vikings and warriors like that as being European. The earliest ones were not European, okay, guys. And so it's a reason why you have the aggression that you have a lot of times, and you have that warrior gene. That's why you some of the best athletes on the planet, okay. That's why you are some of the most rowdiest and most troubled people in the streets and things like that. You have that aggression because that's just in you, okay, in times of war and things like that. And when we are under like I like a little saying. It's a little saying I say, when we were under a yellow sun, which means when things were different, okay, or in the past, okay. I'll say like, yeah, that was like that when we were under a yellow sun, okay. And so it was times, guys, when we were under a yellow sun when when we when we had to do things um that you wouldn't characterize or you wouldn't say is part of your character right now. Okay, guys, but these things may be in your genetics and DNA. And under a yellow sun, you know what I mean? It's times where there were peace, and you didn't have to do certain things, and there's certain transitions that happen and certain cycles that happen to where um, certain DNA and certain things are dormant, and then under a different sun and a different cycle and a different time, things start to wake up. Okay, and though you may be living in a certain point in time, you know what I mean, your body and your DNA and your genetics are still going to go through these cycles, just like the seasons. Okay, and so with that said, with your mental health, guys, especially at this particular point in time, if you are dealing with mental health issues and things like that, you have to understand that things change, and how you would have dealt with situations at a certain point in time may not be how you deal with it now as the world evolves. Okay, so now warfare now is more like spiritual warfare, psychological warfare, propaganda warfare, informational warfare, and things like that. That's what I was saying. I believe I said a little earlier about how now I'm reluctant to tell you what to look up, because now they try to switch a lot of information, a lot of things you can't find, or they'll try to debunk it really hard so people won't believe certain things in order to stifle, like I said, stifle information, and try to reverse things as well. Okay, guys, because they don't want you feeling, certain people don't want you feeling empowered. Okay, that's why when you look at movies and things like that, a lot of times they always try to put Caucasian faces on certain roles and in certain spots in movies and things like that, because they don't want that to be your upliftment. Okay, they don't want you seeing those images as yourself. That's why these things are important for you to know, so it gives you a different perception and understanding of yourself. It lifts your self-esteem up, which is the basis of this foundation. That's the foundation of this new beginning. Okay, and this rebuilding. Okay, is rebuilding your identity. You know what I mean? I'm giving you back your identity, and giving you back your history, all of it. Okay, guys, not just the parts where it makes you seem vulnerable and weak and things like that. And then to shift it back to warrior genes and things like that, guys. So at certain cycles, at certain points of time, some of you guys were mighty great warriors in the past. Okay, and some of your past lives, some of you guys were you couldn't imagine some of the things that you did. Okay, that you probably wouldn't associate in your present with your present life and see yourself doing. Okay, but yet these genes are still in you and dormant. Okay, and so why a video like this is important is because you can know how to now handle and process these things better as you are transitioning, as you are evolving. Okay, because all this stuff really is a good thing, but you know what I mean, you have to balance it out and perceive it in the time that you're living in now. Okay, what else I want to say about it, guys? So it's not for you. It's not, and there is help in ways to transition and make it a smoother transition. Okay, guys, and things like that. So you just have to look into those things. Okay, but I don't want you feeling. I don't want you having the wrong perception of what you're going through or what your transition and development is. You know what I mean? And then you can deal with it the wrong way. Okay, guys. Because it's a lot of good, like a lot of you guys, if you deal with things like bipolar, schizophrenia, things like that, things that they tag, you know what I mean, that the medical field would tag labels on, you notice a lot of the gifts that are within it, and then it relates to the warrior gene. See, when you guys, for those of you who experience these things, you know when you starting to come on, You know what I mean? You notice you don't have to eat as much, you don't have to sleep and things like that, drink and all that type of stuff. But you gotta think about how those genetics, how why they may not seem, uh, you know, good today or whatever, or it may seem like a pathology in today or a problem today. Think about times of war and things like that, where food was scarce, where you didn't want to be sleeping. You would want to sleep with one eye open and things like that. You were always alert and aware. So that's why you have so much energy when you going through one of your you know your I guess you could say your episodes or something like that. You know what I mean? You have so much energy. You don't have to sleep. You know what I mean? You don't have to eat and things like that. So you have to correlate these things and understand them. You know what I mean? And then that's when you do have to be aware that you're not in that situation, okay, currently and things like that, and that there is help to move you through these processes as you continue to evolve and grow, okay, and understand yourself and things like that. Um, Is that all I want to say? I think that's kind of all I want. I mainly want to do this video so you guys can have the perception, to give you the perception to think about it like that. You know what I mean? And that's the start and that's the main basis of this video. And then you can get going with adding on. And hopefully it was some other jewels in this video that made sense. But yeah, guys. And then the thing is too is trying to keep as much peace as possible. You know what I mean? With these genetics rising up and things like that, and trying to go into a transition smoothly, because we're all going through changes. Okay, some of us are going through changes more than others, faster than others, before others. Some of us are going through different. We all are going through different changes. Everything's changing. You know what I mean? In the atmosphere, in the environment, on the planet, things are changing. This is a cycle and a time of great change. You know what I mean? And so it's just about transitioning properly, okay? And having the proper information so you can transition properly and have the right mindset and the right perspective, okay? Yeah, I think that's good for now. I think that's good. Hopefully this was a helpful video, guys. Peace.